Grab a sip. The flaw in the free Dunkin' this morning is that I did not drink enough water throughout the day. So here we are. All right, so taking about another nice deep breath or two if you are finding that other initial range of motion, and then go ahead and make your way over to that child's pose and meet me there. As always, in your child's pose, knees wide, big toes close together, hips towards the heels. If you'd like your knees a little bit narrower or a small adjustment to this positioning, feel free to find that in these first couple of nice deep breaths as we get moving. You get a couple of choices here in this child's pose. Forehead can gently rest on the mat. Arms can be out long in front of you. You can gently walk them side to side. You could bend at the elbows, bring the hands to the shoulders, and find a little bit of stretch. You can circle the arms around behind the back for a little bit more of a shoulder stretch or a chest stretch. Or you just hang out in your regular child's pose right down center. And we'll take 3 more nice deep breaths here. So nice and easy, couple inhales and exhales. Taking your scan of the body as you complete those last 2 nice deep breaths. As always, noticing those points of tension without any judgment. And then with that next nice deep breath, we're going to go into our little front to back flow, our child's pose to cobra, getting the back, the spine, the shoulders a little warmed up. As always, I'm going to pull those knees underneath, bringing in that nice little front to back range of motion. This is going to serve, like I said, just warm up the back, the core, the shoulders, also those wrists as we start to put a little bit of pressure into them, maybe the neck a little bit if you lift the head up nice and high. So moving as usual at your own pace in and out of these, taking those couple of nice deep breaths. And you can turn that cobra into a baby cobra or a sphinx if that serves you a little bit better. Go ahead one more time in each direction, and then we're going to meet back in that child's pose just for another moment. Our child's pose from there is going to take us up to hands and knees. So after that moment in your child's pose, bring it up to hands and knees. Knees under hips, wrists either under shoulders or a little out in front. We're going to take 3 nice, easy cats and cows. So our inhales and exhales leading us into that. Inhale, belly towards the floor, lift the chin. Exhale, round the spine towards the ceiling, tuck the chin in towards the chest. Same thing for 2 more breaths. And then bringing that spine back to our nice neutral. From here, we're going to take it into our lunge. So I'm going to walk my hands to the left, circle my right leg around to the front. We're going to find our just easy front to back. So same options as always for that low lunge. You can sink those hips forward. You can bring it up tall, turn the hips under, and bring them a little bit further forward for that hip flexor stretch. You can use that knee for a little support wherever you need to be. When you feel comfortable and you feel like you've gotten a pretty good stretch out of that hip flexor, feel free to go ahead and shift those hips back, lengthen the front leg, lift the front toes. Ooh, my hamstrings are tight. And find that hinge at the hips for those hamstrings. Pause there for a few moments. When you feel you've gotten a nice passive stretch, then we'll find our little front to back flow. So getting it moving, same as that child's pose to cobra, just a couple times each direction. Find that nice range of motion. Get those muscles ready for that little bit of activity that we're going to be doing tonight. We've got some work in our downward facing dog, so especially getting those hamstrings and those calves ready to go. Not too much work, kind of more of a transitional movement, but same as always, got to be ready for it. Go to one more time in each direction. When you're done with that last time in each direction, we're switching sides. So circle that right leg back around to the back, bring that left leg forward. Same concept to get us started. Sinking into that low lunge. Take a couple moments, maybe a nice deep breath here. Once you feel pretty comfortable in that front low lunge, feel like you've gotten a decent passive stretch, sinking it back, lengthen the front leg, lift the front toes, hinge at the hips. Again, another kind of easy passive stretch. And then go ahead and find that flow front to back a couple of times here on this second side. This one, for some reason, not as bad as the other side. As always, noticing if that's the same for yourself, if one side feels a little different than the other, and without any judgment, just being aware of that for these movements, being aware of that for anything like our downward facing dog, where it's going to affect us, we might compensate a little. I'm just trying to be prepared for that. One more time each way. Meet me back in that low lunge, and then circle that left leg back around for our hands and knees. When you get to hands and knees, we are going to do 5 bird dogs on each side. So right arm and left leg, we inhale to extend nice and long from fingertip to toes or heels. Exhale pulls the elbow and the knee towards each other. Like I said, about 5. Nice and comfortably slow and controlled, finding that nice extension, warming up the core, the balance, and the back. When you finish that first 5, just go ahead and switch it up. Hit that other side for me. So opposite arm and opposite leg on that second side. For me, left arm and right leg. When you finish those second 5, go ahead and set it back down. We're going to take just a moment for a little bit of a wrist stretch, and then we're going to kind of move towards our flow. So the wrist stretch, I'm going to start by focusing on my right hand. So my left hand is still going to be on the mat for a little bit of support, but we're not focusing on the stretch there. I'm going to place that right hand down, and then all I'm doing is shifting the shoulder out over those fingertips. So finding kind of just that gentle range of motion, pain-free range of motion, but you should feel a good stretch, and then shifting it back just slightly to lessen the pressure. So just a couple times on that right side. And then we're just going to switch the direction the fingers are facing. So they were facing forward. I'm going to turn them around. Just being like this is tense for those fingers. So they were starting here. I just flipped them around. The back of my hand is still facing the ceiling, so I haven't flipped my hand completely over yet. Just being like this, again, is a little intense for my wrist. Okay. Hanging out there for a second if you need a little more intensity, shifting it back, or if you need a little less intensity, fingertips out towards the side of the mat. From there, we are going to take the back of the hand, place it down on the mat, just a light amount of weight down, and then I'm going to shift my shoulder back. So this time my palm is facing up, light amount of weight on the back of the hand, and just a little bit of pressure, shifting it back. And then go ahead and release that. Give that wrist a roll or two. And then we're just going to go ahead and switch sides. So starting right where we were, left arm, shoulder shifts out, just in front, just slightly, and back to release that a couple times on the second side. Fabulous. When you're ready, back of the hand stays facing up. We just flip those fingertips to face back towards the body. Again, if you need a little less intensity on that one, they can kind of face out and away. This looks, I'm looking down at the image of myself doing this, and it looks a little bit like contortionism, but bear with me, just getting that wrist warmed up, turning those fingers out, bringing it back. A little bit of pressure, again, pain-free, but good stretch. And when you're ready, lift it up, flip that palm so that it faces, back of the hand comes down onto that mat, and a little bit of pressure backwards with that shoulder. Very light amount of pressure. And go ahead and release that. Give it a couple circles. Shake it out a little bit. Maybe give me a couple shoulder circles if that feels good. We're at our kind of up on those knees position. So if you are someone that really likes the spinal twist, you could start with a little spinal twist here. If you're someone that really likes a lateral stretch, maybe give it a lateral stretch in each direction here. When you're done with whatever feels good there for a couple of moments, let's go ahead and meet in our downward facing dog. So giving yourself a second to come into it, plant those hands, curl those toes under, send those hips up and back. Spend a whole ton of time here, but just these first couple of moments, as always, be gentle on yourself for this first inversion. Just a nice big lower body stretch, pedal out those heels, maybe keeping the head just slightly lifted. All right, very nice. From here, we're going to make our way out into our high push-up plank position, again, for just a couple of moments. So we're out in that high push-up plank. We're pulling those shoulder blades apart. We've got that good form. Those heels are facing up towards the ceiling, obviously. So we're going to find some glute extensions. We're just going to find 4 nice and controlled. So I want you to take that right foot, lift it up towards the ceiling, and hold there for just a moment for me. Finding our balance a little bit. We're here for 3, 2, 1. Set it down. Find your balance again. Lift that left leg. Bring that up. We're here for 3, 2, 1. Set that down. Very nice. We're done with those. We're taking it through our chaturanga to our cobra. So shoulders shift forward, toes or knees, lower it down. When you're done there, press the chest up, baby cobra or cobra. Take a moment. Let's give those wrists a little break. We're going to lower all the way down to the mat. I'm going to shift back a little bit. We're lowering down to the mat. Take those arms out ahead. Again, wrists get a little break here. So if they need a roll or two, once you make it down to the mat, give them a roll or two. I know that warm up can be a little intense. So if you're still feeling it, give yourself some leeway. Let's take it for our Superman and our lat pull. When we get to the tail end of that, so we're going to lift and pull the elbows in, I want you to hold up there. So we're going to lift up. We're going to pull those elbows in and those shoulder blades together and give me just a little hold here. So again, evaluating, are your shoulder blades actually pulled together or are your elbows down by your side? I want them to be up and in just slightly so we've got those nice active lats. And those shoulders are low away from the ears as we pull down. From here, when you're ready, go ahead and extend back out, lower back down. And we're going to do a couple a little quicker without that hold. So go ahead at your own pace, that lift, that in, that out, and then that back down. A couple times. Give me one more of those, and then we're going to change it up. We're going to hit a little bit more shoulders, a little less lats. So last one, then extend back out and lower down. Give yourself just a moment. When you're ready to go back at it again, we're going to lift. Instead of bending at the elbows, we're going to circle the arms all the way around. So we're working those shoulders, still pulling the shoulder blades together when you hit as far back as you can go. Extend back out and lower back down. So same thing a couple times at your own pace here. Very nice. Lots of upper and lower back work through this series. So give me one more of those. When you're done with that last one, give the lower back a break by pressing it back to our child's pose. Knees down, big toes close together, hips back towards the heels. We're using our down dog as a transition to our half pigeon. So lift the hips, curl the toes under, plant the hands, press the hips up and back. Right foot is going to start us off. Right foot to our 3-legged dog. Bend the left knee. We're coming into our pigeon, so we're floating that leg underneath. The shin meets the mat underneath those hips. My foot is in towards my left hip. Top of my left foot meets, and I sink those hips down into my half pigeon. 2 nice deep breaths here, so you can stay high, you can come lower, 2 breaths. Very nice. As promised, lots of core work today. So that's where we're going to make our way next. Go ahead and bring it up onto those palms if you brought it down. To make our way over there, I'm going to send my right hip down to that mat. And then I'm going to take my weight over there to circle my left leg around and bring it to knees bent and feet planted. Very nice. From here, we're going to start off nice and I don't know if it's really easy, but we're going to go into our boat pose. Let's start our setup with our knees bent, our feet planted. Take those arms out long to remind you to keep that spine nice and long. Sink back just as far as you can go while that spine stays long, so I don't want to see that lower back rounding out at all. I want to keep it long, chest nice and proud. From here, if you'd like to, you can lift those knees up, bring it into that full boat pose with the knees bent. And again, an extra step up now if you would still like it and the lower back is still feeling good, is to lengthen those legs. My hip flexors cannot handle that, so I'm going to keep my knees bent, but choose the option that works best for you. We're here for 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. We're going to extend all the way out and down to that mat. All the way out and down to that mat. Right hand behind the ear, left arm out long. Right leg is going to stay planted right where it is. Left knee and right elbow are going to come towards each other. So in towards our center, and then back out long to extend. Left heel still floats. Couple of those, nice and controlled. Half bicycle and back out. I want you to really think about finding that nice big exhale as you come towards center. and inhale as you extend. If you want extra challenge, think about pressing that right heel as solidly down into the mat as you can. So we're keeping that right leg active. Same thing with that left hand as we keep the right arm and left leg moving. If you can press them down a little bit more solidly, that gets that core working a little harder. We're in this right side for another 3, 2, and 1. Go ahead and set those 2 down. So left heel meets, right hand meets, left hand comes behind the head. And here we go on that opposite side. So right knee to left elbow. Exhale as you come towards center. Inhale as you extend out. Again, if you want that little bit of extra work, we're pressing that left heel and that right hand as solidly down into that mat as you can to create that little bit of extra tension, especially through the core, but also you should feel it a little bit through the legs, through the shoulders. Very nice. We're in this second side for another 4, 3, 2, and 1. Go ahead and place both feet down. Place the head down. Take those arms out long by your side into our A-frame. From here, let's get a little bit of hip action. This is also going to work our core. So our hands are out in our A-frame. That right foot comes up towards the ceiling. We're going to find some hip circles. We're going to start across the body. So as big of a circle as you can make with that right hip still on the ground. It's going to come down across the body and around, out just as far as you're comfortable with, and pause when you hit the top. So a couple times in that first direction, across the body first, away from the body second, pause at the top. Starting to get that hip and that glute kind of moving here. I won't say warmed up because we're kind of past that point of the workout, but still warmed up because we haven't done a ton of hip flexor work yet. Yes, she says ominously. No, I promise there's not that much of this. Give me one more circle in this direction. One more circle that way. When you hit the top, all we're doing, same leg, is changing directions. So this time away from our center line first, down and around, across the center line, and back up to pause. A couple times in that second direction. All right, give me 2 more in this second direction. When you finish those last 2, you get your personal option for where you'd like to go. You can pull the knee in towards the chest. You can let it fall out towards the side. You can bring it across the body. You can do something else. I don't know, lay flat, whatever suits you after that. Nice hip flexor, glute work, core work. All right, all right. We're going to make moves. We're going to switch to that other side. So when you're ready, right leg goes out long, left leg goes up towards the ceiling. Same concept here. We're going to start across the body, down, around, and back up. A couple times, second direction. There is a gnat from one of my plants that has been chasing my face around the whole time that we've been together. Unpleasant. Give me one more circle in this first direction. And then when you finish, we're switching sides, switching directions. So away from the body first, across, and then pause at the top. Whew, we're almost done with this part. I can't promise we'll give these muscles a break next, but really done with these. And one more nice big hip circle in this second direction. And then you get your choice of recovery pose. Maybe it's here, maybe it's here, maybe it's here, maybe it's here, whatever floats your boat. Just take a couple of nice deep breaths. Let those hips, let that core, let those glutes recover. All right, let's take it back to that core focus. We're going to focus on the lower core. Once again, we're going to start off at our 90 degrees, our tabletop position. So we're nice and solid with the torso on the ground, with the lower back on the ground, our knees at our 90 degrees. You can have those hands out in that A-frame, or for a little more support, we can bring those thumbs underneath the tailbone, underneath those hips. As always, for a little more challenge on something like this, we're lifting the head and shoulders up. We're keeping the lower back pressed down into the mat. And same as usual, lower is going to be a little harder, higher is going to be a little easier. We're going to take our legs from our 90 degrees out to nice and straight. We're going to keep our feet pressed together and our knees pressed together. So take them out nice and long. Again, lower is harder, higher is easier, and then back into our 90 degrees. So a couple times like that. Take them out, little pause at the tail end, and then bring them back in. Nice and controlled, lower back stays on the ground. Or with its natural arch, at least. If it's not pressed solidly to the ground, I always struggled with that cue. So it didn't make any sense to my body, but we don't want it moving around as you move here. Your core should be supporting it. Give me one more like that, and then bring those knees back up to our 90 degrees. If the head and shoulders need a little break, you can set those down. We're going to change up what we're doing with our feet up next. So we started with our knees and our feet together. We're going to take them to hip width distance apart. So I'm going to take my fists, put them together next to each other. Those are going to fit right between my knees, and my feet are going to line up parallel with them. They're going to stay at this distance as we extend and come back in. Same exact concept. So we're starting here at our 90 degrees, hip width distance, extends out long. They stay at that hip width distance, and then we pull back in. Small adjustments, of course, as the fact that our knees may be a little closer than our feet when we take them out long, and that's okay. Same concept. Lower back is nice and solid, not moving around a ton. Higher is going to be a little easier as you start to get fatigued. Give me one more like this, and we've got one more modification before we move it on. So when you're done, back to that 90 degrees, let the head and shoulders relax if you'd like. We're taking it to our Pilates V to finish us out. So our Pilates V, the knees are going to kind of do what they will when they're close together. They're going to be a little further apart. When you extend them out long, they're going to be a little closer. But our feet are the important part. I want those heels close together, and the toes are going to make our V. So that's our Pilates V with those feet. Heels close together, toes out. Here we go. Same concept. As we extend, those knees kind of come together. As we pull them in, they kind of come apart. So kind of like a frog, extending out, bringing it back in. Very nice. Give me just two more of these. Two more of these. When you finish that second, pull those knees in towards the chest. Whew. Maybe a little rock side to side or in little circles when you get there. Maybe bend the knees, plant the feet. Give yourself that little windshield wiper. Very nice. Bend the knees and plant the feet from wherever you are. Inhale, arms up overhead. Exhale, we're going to do a single roll up. So as slow and controlled with as little momentum as you can. Arms circle around. Ooh, peel yourself up the floor. With that exhale, come up to the top. Nice long spine. And relax those arms down. Very nice. We started with that right leg pigeon. We're going to take that left leg in front for our pigeon. So we hit that other side. So left leg comes in front. Left hip comes down as we circle that right leg around. I'm going to have to come up onto my shin to make it back down into that pigeon. Send that right leg back long as we sink into it. Two nice deep breaths. You can stay high. You can come lower. You can come lower. Whatever works for you. Whew. Fabulous. Bring it up to those palms if you're not there already. Three-legged dog. Curl that right toe under. As we lift the hips, the left leg goes up and back. And then comes down next to the right. Downward facing dog. We're going to take another chaturanga. Float the shoulders out over those wrists. Toes or knees. Lower it down. All the way to the mat. We're taking it to a side plank. I'm going to roll so that I'm facing you for our first one. You roll towards whichever side pleases you. Side plank, set up, elbow or wrist, whatever floats your boat today. Either way, feet stacked, bottom leg down, top leg up. Whenever you're ready, let's take those hips up into our side plank. All right, so we've got those nice high hips. We're trying to keep it balanced. We're trying to keep that long line from the shoulders down to the feet. We're trying to continue to breathe. Again, if you need that extra little bit of assistance, we've got that bottom knee down so that we can keep those hips high. If you want that little extra challenge, lift that top leg. We're here for 5, 4, very nice, 3, 2, 1. Send those hips down. Bring it down so that our ear is on our bicep. Top hand can come down right in front. Keep that foot parallel with that bottom foot. We're just going to do 6 leg lifts through your range of motion. This is it for this, and then we're switching sides. So no fancy different versions of this, but we're going to lift right here. Keep those hips stacked and lower. Big thing is to keep that core nice and active. So we're working it as well. That was my second. 4 more for our 6. We're moving a little faster or slower. Keep moving a little faster or slower. I'm bound to lose count, so I've got 2 more. When you finish that second, we're gonna roll it on over to that other side. I'm gonna flip so I'm still facing you, but you feel free to just roll right over. We're doing the same thing. We're keeping it simple. Another side plank. When you're ready, again, elbow, wrist, wherever you are so inclined to set up for your second side plank. When you're ready, go ahead and send those hips up. Find that nice plank. Nice long line from the shoulder to the feet. Bottom foot can be down, top foot can be lifted. Don't forget to breathe. Very nice, very nice. If you're ready to lift that top foot for our last 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Very nice. Go ahead and set those hips down. Bring it down so that ear is on that bicep. Once again, we've got 6 lifts on this side. Feet are parallel with each other. That lift and lower. Whew. There's my third, I think. I'm halfway through. I'm sorry if that threw someone off. It was counting. I was trying to focus. There's my last one. I'm going to once again flip over so I'm facing the correct direction. But whenever you're done, over onto your stomach and then into our child's pose. So that's where we're going to meet. Back in that gentle child's pose. Whew. Oh, man. All right, fabulous work. We've got 2 more nice deep breaths here. If you would like to walk those hands side to side, if you'd like to bring the arms around behind the back, bend the elbows, grab a sip of your beverage. Excellent. With your next move, go ahead and take it into your downwards facing dog. So finish your last sip if you're grabbing that sip. Finish your last breath if you were in that child's pose, some version of it. When you're ready, plant those hands, curl those toes under, press those hips up and back. Nice and short, just like the first time. Let's take it out to that high push-up plank position. Shoulders over wrists, nice and stable. Same concept as before. Those heels are still up, so we're gonna lift them up. Let's take that right foot up towards the ceiling. Squeeze through that glute. Give me that little hold for 3, 2, 1. Send it down and switch. Left leg lifts. Hold it up there. Squeeze through that glute for 3, 2, 1. Set it down. Chaturanga to cobra. Shoulders shift a little further forward. Toes or knees. Elbows go back. Lower it down. Press it up. Cobra, baby cobra. Excellent. Let's give those wrists another little break. Bring it all the way down. Take those arms out nice and long. We've got 3 Supermans with our lat pulls when you get to the bottom. So it's that lift. Those elbows come in. They extend back out. And we lower down. 2 more just like that. When you finish those 3, give your shoulders just a little break. And then we've got 3 of those kind of swimming, those circles, that shoulder work. So same kind of concept. We're first going to lift up. Then arms stay long. We circle them around. Keep those shoulder blades pulled together. Circle them back around and lower it back down. 3 of those again. 3 of those. When you finish that third, you can take a moment and pause in cobra, or you can meet us in that downward facing dog, which will be our next move, whichever you are so inclined to prefer. If you did find that cobra, with that next exhale, activate that core, turn those toes under, press those hips up and back, downward facing dog. We're gonna hit our half pigeon for just 1 breath this time, and we're gonna start with our left on this side. So left leg, give me that 3-legged dog. Bend the right knee, sweep the left leg underneath, shin meets the mat underneath those hips, and then send that foot back down, those hips down. 1 nice deep breath, so you can still come down for that if you'd like. Nice, let's take it up to those palms. We're going to do a much more abbreviated version of our core work here. So send that left hip down, circle that right leg around. When you get it around, bring it into your boat pose, whatever version of it you are so inclined to find. Nice long spine, knees at 90, heels can be down, legs can be long, wherever you are. Make your way into it. Don't forget to breathe. Keep your core nice and engaged, shoulders low away from the ears. 3, 2, 1, all the way down to the mat, all the way down to the mat. Right hand behind the ear, left arm out to our side, right elbow to left knee. Pull it in and extend it out. We're here for another 4, 3, 2, and last one. And then switch sides. Right arm out to our side, left hand behind that ear, left elbow to right knee. Nice, we're on this side for another 4, 3, 2, and the last one. When you finish that, go ahead and let the head and shoulders release and relax. We're going to take our hip circles. Again, very abbreviated version of this. We're going to do 3 in each direction. So right leg comes up towards the ceiling. Left leg is down. Arms out by our sides. Start across the body. Just 3. So make them good ones. Keep those hips down. Keep that core engaged. When you finish those 3, change directions. Hit that other side. Other direction, not other leg. Other direction. When you finish that third, take a little break, about a breath or 2 break, wherever you'd like to take your break. And then when you're ready, we've got our 3 each direction on our second side. So left leg comes up, same concept. Cross the body first for our 3, 2, 1. And then switch directions for those last 3, 2, and 1. And then go ahead, pull those knees in towards the chest. All right, we've got our 3 variations of that 90 to lengthened. We're going to do 2 of each of them. So we're starting with those knees and those feet together at our 90 degrees. Super slow and controlled. We're only doing 2. So super slow and as low as you can go without your lower back giving up on you. Take them out. Nice and long. Give me a 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi, and then pull it back in. One more just like that, knees and feet together. Take it out nice and long. Give me that 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi, and pull it in. From there, hip width distance apart. So that's that 2 fists apart, knees and feet, same thing. Take them out. 1 and 2, bring them back in. One more just like that. Take them out. 1 and 2, bring them in. And then that V, heels together, big toes nice and far apart in our V for our feet. Same thing, last 2. Take them out for 1 and 2, pull them in. Last one. Nice and controlled, take it out. Holding for that 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi, and pull it in. Pull those knees in towards the chest. Give that head and neck a little break. Single roll up, bend those knees, plant those feet. Inhale, arms up overhead. Exhale, rolls us up. Nice long spine. Let those arms drop. Right leg is going to come in front. We're taking our weight onto that right hip. We're circling that left leg around behind. I've got to kind of come up on my shin to make my way into my half pigeon. Very nice. We're going to take one more nice deep breath. High, low, wherever you'd like to be. I feel like in my half pigeon, my one nice deep breath always turns into like 4 because this feels so good. All right, we're taking this up into our three-legged dog, to our downward facing dog. Curl that left toe under, lift those hips, send that right leg up. Send that right foot down next to the left. Shoulders out over wrists, high push-up plank. Toes or knees, chaturanga. Press it up to cobra for me. Turn those toes over. Press those hips up and back, down dog. You've got your option. You can walk those hands backwards towards those feet or those feet forward towards those hands, whichever is fabulous. Forward fold, give yourself a minute. We haven't done this today. Take a second. Maybe let that neck release and relax. Maybe it shakes nice and slow in your yes or no range of motion. Maybe the shoulders relax. Maybe you find opposite arm with opposite hand. With your next inhale, whenever it comes, let's roll nice and slow up, vertebrae by vertebrae. Start with those hips, lower back, mid back, upper back, shoulders, keep them low away from the ears. Finally, that head. Very nice. Next big inhale, take the arms out and up. Take that right arm down, left arm up for a nice lateral stretch. Give that core a stretch. Inhale up to center. Second side. Inhale up to center. Exhale, circle the arms down. One more nice deep breath. Lead with those arms. Inhale takes us up. Palms meet up overhead. Exhale pulls the hands down to heart center. Thank you so much for joining me on this Wednesday evening. I hope you have a great rest of your night, great rest of your week. Holiday on Monday, no class. The light in me honors the light in you, bowing as we say, namaste.